Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another daily movie review. Today, we're going to be talking about a movie that just dropped on VOD just last night, this morning. 2020's Fatman. The film is directed by the Nelms brothers, Esham and Ian, also written by them. It stars, if you don't know, Mel Gibson, Walton Goggins, Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Chance Hurstfield, Robert Boxtel, and others. The plot synopsis, the really, really short plot synopsis here. Santa Claus must contend with a hitman sent from a disappointed child. Yeah. So this is, one of those kind of dark comedy Christmas movies. Probably airs more on the side of being just kind of a dark, depressing, low-budget movie. And I would say in general, spoiler-free, I enjoyed this movie. I actually really liked it. I like Mel Gibson. I'm a big Mel Gibson fan. I really like Walton Goggins. I think they delivered. They are better than the material that they have to work with oftentimes in this movie. The movie's got a weird thing where it doesn't know where to commit its energies in terms of, like, does it want to be really funny or would it rather be more dramatic and kind of dark? Those things never kind of mesh super well because there is like this openly fantastical element to the story. Like, Mel Gibson is Santa Claus. It's just a pared down, kind of low-key Santa Claus. They try to divine some sort of semi-realistic way that Santa Claus might operate, and that Santa Claus is kind of in a slump. Kids around the world are just being bad, and he has to give them coal. He's a man of principle. He doesn't just give bad kids toys. So what happens is for every toy that Santa Claus gives out, he gets a check from the government. He's basically a government employee in this movie, and he finds himself in a position where he's making so little money because there's so many bad kids in the world that he can't run his operation anymore. So he has to go into a government contract making government weapons. He has to put his elves to work making like missiles and stuff. It's a super interesting concept. I wish that the movie was just better modulated because it has these very clear kind of parallel stories. You have the story with Santa Claus and what he's going through, his emotional journey. Then you have Walton Goggins as this hitman that's hired by the spoiled brat kid. And the spoiled brat kid and the hitman, kind of their story is one, Santa Claus is the other. They kind of converge at the end. But there's too much of the movie where they feel actually kind of disconnected and a little disparate. Like, I wish there was more of a parallel journey, or there was some kind of more heart to the movie in a weird way. Like, I know that part of the point is to be dark and fucked up, but it never goes far enough, I think, to justify what the tone it tries to strike in the end. Because it wants to have its cake and eat it too. It wants to be this dark, fucked up thing, but also have a sense of heart, have kind of somewhat of a positive message, and also kind of have a dark joke at the end. And I think if it wanted to be really like darkly comedic, it needed to go farther. Because you're kind of left underwhelmed. Like I said, I did enjoy this movie. I think it's totally worth your time if you are a fan of Mel Gibson. He's clearly thirsty for some work, because he gives like a great performance, a great fun performance in this movie. He has, out of all of the characters, out of all the actors, him and then, what's her name? Marianne Jean-Baptiste, they strike the best tone. They're great as like, Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. They do a great job. And everybody else in the movie is pretty solid, but Mel Gibson, he's Mel Gibson. He's a great actor. So that's going to do it for the spoiler-free portion of the movie, or the movie review, rather. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the story, kind of how it builds out, some of the themes. But for me, if you saw the trailer for this movie and you were at all interested in it, I think it'll kind of deliver on what that trailer promises. I mean, the trailer itself is kind of all over the place. I would say the movie kind of matches that. The movie, they had a hard time figuring out how they were going to sell this movie to people. And it seems like that's because the movie itself is a little confused. But anyways, moving on. So like I said, I really liked the performances. I like a lot of the things about the movie, but there is something weird about the structure that I just couldn't jive with. It just, I don't know, something eluded me. I couldn't put my finger on it while I was watching it. I'm like, there's something off here. There's something off here. There is this character of this bratty little kid that hires this hitman, who ends up being almost completely superfluous. Like, he doesn't actually need to be in the movie, because you could have just had the hitman character be that kid when he was younger. The movie maybe could have started in a flashback, and then, you know, he grows up, because the hitman has this obsession with Santa Claus, because Santa Claus only ever got him one present as a kid, and he had a hard life, and life wasn't fair, and his dad used to put cigarettes out on him, and he felt abandoned by the concept of Santa Claus. He didn't feel like a special kid, and he thinks that's what led him down the road to become a hitman. And there is actually some reality there. So I would have liked it if they had actually just focused on that. Like, focus on that parallel story between Santa Claus and this hitman kind of finding themselves. And at the end of the movie, the hitman gets fucking iced by Mrs. Claus. He kills Santa Claus, where you find out Santa Claus got kind of superpowers to a certain degree. He's like got super strength. He heals very fast. So Walton Goggins it's actually a pretty harrowing scene. They're like kind of having a shootout in front of Santa Claus's house, and Santa Claus hits him in the fucking head with a with a piece of wood, and he falls down, and they struggle and they fight, but Walton Goggins gets the upper hand. And like, Santa Claus is trying to say something to him, like, because Santa Claus is trying to stop this from happening. He wants to have like this moment where he's kind of apologizes to the hitman for feeling abandoned, because he was just like, listen, I can only do so much. I can't help, and I can't save everybody, and I'm sorry. And he's kind of trying to impart that to him. And as he's doing that, the hitman just fucking shoots him in the head. It's like a really ice cold moment. Because really the bratty little kid is only there to serve kind of these not that funny jokes, these kind of hack jokes. And I didn't really get like really what the point of his character was. Like, you could have, like I said, accomplished the same things without him, and maybe added another layer or some more depth to Walton Goggins' hitman, if that had been his story. You know, I don't understand. It was just weird. It's like, I don't understand why they did that, because they leave it up to, they make it kind of like this unfolding mystery with the hitman, in terms of like, why does he have such a bug up his ass about Santa Claus? All you know is that he will go and collect these toys that are stamped like from Santa's factory from people all around the country, and he's got like a little mini museum. He bags them, puts them on a shelf. Seems obsessed with it. You don't really know why. And them kind of like hiding that until the end of the movie didn't do anything. It doesn't really matter, because they present him as this like really cold hitman who just will fucking kill anybody for money. It doesn't matter. He'll torture little kids. That's like one of the kind of the hack jokes they do with the bratty kid. He first hires him to get to pressure this girl to saying that she lied during the science fair so he can get first place. It's honestly, it just didn't really do anything for me. But not that saying torturing kids can't be funny. I'm just saying they didn't really do anything with it. So having it as a reveal at the end, you're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, we already think he's going to be ruthless and try to kill Santa Claus no matter what anyways. Like, waiting to have the emotional, because they want it to be like an emotional gut punch at the end. It'd be like, oh, he feels abandoned. It would have been awesome if the whole movie had been dealing with this sense of abandonment. Just in the same way that Santa Claus feels abandoned by the children of the world. They don't believe in him anymore. They don't believe in magic. They're not concerned with whether or not Santa Claus is going to give them coal. They don't care. So little kids are just like, it's almost like presented as this world where little kids are almost in this kind of post-apocalyptic sense, like running roughshod over adults. And they clue you in a couple times with like these news radio. You'll hear it on the radio, or you see it on the TV, and Santa Claus goes to a bar. Because, you know, that's where Santa Claus is at. He's a grump. He fucking hangs out at the bar. Takes the antacid in his shots. You know how it is. One of those types. But yeah, like I said, if they had kind of paralleled those stories, because that's how Santa Claus feels as well. He feels the same way. And the fact that he has to kind of whore himself out, like take this contract with the government, and he's going to be pressured to re-up that contract as well, right? Because the elves, they do such good work. You could have had kind of a little bit of parallels about how maybe the hitman had kind of lost himself because of this, and how he just kept getting in too deep. Because once you do it once, like, how do you say no to that kind of money? And you could really lose yourself in that. And if they had made that just, I don't know, if that was more of the thrust of the movie, the story itself, I think it would have greatly benefited from that. Just coherence, you know? Maybe would have made the movie feel not so all over the place. And that is the problem. The only, like, Walton Goggins is a good actor. I like Walton Goggins. But the shit with Walton Goggins is kind of boring. It kind of takes you out of the movie a little bit because it's just him going from place to place, like trying to find out where Santa Claus lives until the end he finds out where he lives. That's basically it. For most of, like, from the half hour into the movie, for the last hour of the movie, that's kind of what he's doing. And you're really just more interested in Santa Claus, what's going on with Santa Claus. A part of that is Mel Gibson. You know, honestly, you just want to spend time with him and this character. Now, maybe that's me just being a Gibson fan, maybe wistful, nostalgic for just Gibson being in a movie in general, you know? Maybe that's what it is. So I'm like, I got to soak up all the time with this man I can because I don't know when it's going to happen again. You know? Anyways, that's kind of my 2 cents about it. It's a fun movie for what it is. It's low budget. You know, I think they make pretty decent use of the budget. It's maybe the scope of the movie is a little under what they were able to accomplish. Honestly, if this had been 15 minutes longer with some more character stuff, some more like depth for the hitman character, and if they had maybe like a few more $1 million to kind of broaden out the scope, add the fantasticalness, make it a little bit less low key. It needed to be a little bit more. I think you could have gave it a little bit more of a spark, and you could have had some like really, almost if you did it in the tone and style of like the Santa Claus with Tim Allen. If you had done it, like if the aesthetic design had been closer to that, honestly, I think it might have worked better. Because it's like very, you know, it's shot like very cold. A lot of kind of like cool colors, a lot of like kind of blue accentuation, a lot of monochrome. Kind of the way I dress was the color palette for Fatman. But yeah, I've only ever seen one of these directors. They've only made a couple movies. They're brothers, like I said. They did a movie a few years ago called Small Town Crime, which this is better than Small Town Crime, I would say. That's another movie where you're like, I can see what you guys are trying to do. Like, I get it. And I want to like this movie. But there's just something kind of just misses the mark. I don't know. There's just something off about it. Seems like they have structure issues. Maybe they're too married to their scripts and they just kind of have it locked in from conception all the way through post. A little more tinkering maybe in the edit bay could have helped them out a little bit. Little streamlining here and there. Building out in other places, you know. Because, you know, Fatman looks like I'm sure they shot this pretty quick. I can't imagine that this had a huge shooting schedule. Why don't they have the budgets? They used to have just like the budgets here on IMDb, and now they don't. That bothers me. I want you all to know that it fucking bothers me. Let's see here. Let's go over to Wikipedia. And let's see if we can find a budget, because I am curious. No, it just says box office. It got released in limited release, what was it, last week? November 13th. Only made $108,000. Oh my goodness. May 20, it was announced. What goes? On February 3rd, it was announced. So they shot it in February of 2020. Well, how do they not have a budget? Or like how long it took to shoot? I'm assuming they did it in like probably anywhere from, I'd say 14 to 25 days. That's what I'm going to say. That's my expert opinion, my expert analysis of usually the production schedules of movies like this. Yeah. But listen. It's Christmas time, everybody. I was going to wait to talk about this or watch it until Christmas time because I have a whole list of kind of alternative Christmas movies that are kind of more in line with Fatman that I might do either Zoobox Goes to the Movies or just a special bonus episode. Just give you a run up of movies that are Christmas time movies, but maybe a little off the beaten path, you know. So I was gonna save it for that, but I watched it and I was like, oh, I'd like to help the movie out if I could in any small way. I mean, I'm sure this will get like 25 views or whatever. I mean, I appreciate every single one, but yeah, I think it's worth a rental. Like you got to support these kind of things. Support Mel Gibson being in a movie. That's almost how I look at it. It's like you rent this movie and buy this movie. I'm definitely gonna buy it when the Blu-ray comes out. I'll definitely pick it up. It'll probably come out sometime in December, hopefully. I'll be over there Christmas morning watching Fatman again with my son. Yeah, you got to support stuff like this, and I really, really hope Mel Gibson does more stuff, Because even when he's in these kind of lower brow things, like I remember when he did Machete Kills. It was one of the first things that he got cast in after kind of all of his bullshits or in the midst of his bullshit, really. And he played the villain character. And he is not in the movie for very long, but he's awesome in it. He's great. He is just a naturally charismatic dude. He is a movie star. There's something enigmatic about him that is, you just like to pay attention to him. Hey, no homo. I'm just saying. He's my guy. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to know more about Zoobox, you want to keep up to date with everything Zoobox, there's a bunch of links in the description for Facebook, for Instagram, for Twitter, for Twitch. Go sign up for our Twitch page. We're going to be doing movie watch-alongs, I think, in the near future through the Amazon Prime stuff, whether it's just me or me and Dan. It should be fun. It'll be a good time. All right, everybody. You have the best day ever. And leave a comment. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. You know what to do. Tell me what movie you want me to watch. Recommend me some Christmas movies, okay? Okay, goodbye.